Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something really fascinating. It's called Fox's quantum geometry of information model.
That's right.
And our goal here is, well, to unpack its core ideas, because they suggest a really different way of looking at reality. And then we'll touch on a potential application that sounds like science fiction, honestly, especially since it's all being prepped for, wider public understanding.
Yeah, and what's really key, I think, is that this model starts right from the basics. It suggests everything, even space-time isn't just there.
It's not.
No, it's actually built, constructed from these fundamental building blocks.
Okay, let's get into that. So everything's made from fundamental units of information. What does that actually mean? What are these units?
Well, they have certain properties we'd recognize, like energy, spin, position in space, X, Y, Z, and they can be entangled.
Standard quantum stuff so far.
Sort of, but the really crucial part is what's called the information state. Let's just call it I.
Oh.
Think of I as the blueprint. It's the unique code giving that unit its specific identity and, importantly, how it interacts with everything else. It's like its operational instructions.
So you've got these tiny little blueprints, these units. How do they all come together to form, well, the universe we actually see and touch? How does that collective behavior work?
Right. So when you look at them collectively, their interactions actually give rise to what the model calls emergent space-time.
Emergent, meaning it's not fundamental.
Exactly. It arises from these units, and this is where it gets really mind-bending. The model proposes that space-time isn't this fixed uniform grid.
Okay.
It suggests space-time can have a locally varying number of dimensions.
Wait, varying dimensions, so not always three spatial ones.
Locally, yes. The number can change depending on where you are. This dynamic quality is captured by something called the local space-time value, or LP.
LP.
Yeah, LP. Think of it as describing how dense or sparse space-time is at a point. And critically, how many dimensions are sort of active right there. It's not rigid, it's flexible.
Wow. Okay. That completely changes the game board, doesn't it? If the stage itself isn't fixed.
It does, and it opens up possibilities.
Like you mentioned applications, one that really jumps out is quantum teleportation. How on earth does that fit into this LP in information state picture?
Right. So in this model, quantum teleportation isn't magic. It's not beaming people around instantly.
Good to clarify.
Yeah. It's a very specific process. You need what's called LP alignment.
Matching those space-time values.
Exactly. You need the local space-time structure at the sending point and the receiving point to be precisely matched, perfectly aligned.
Okay.
Then you transmit the information state, that all blueprint we talked about, the core instructions.
The essence of the thing being teleported.
Precisely. And then there's a crucial step called history synchronization.
History synchronization, what's that?
It's about ensuring the entire causal history, every interaction that led to that state, is consistent between the 2 points. So when the state arrives, it fits seamlessly into the new locations, reality, past, and all.
So controlling that LP value is absolutely critical then, on both sides.
Absolutely essential for the entanglement needed and also for what the model calls the capture or collapse of unrealized mass.
Unrealized mass. That sounds like creating something from nothing. Or, well, almost nothing.
It sort of does, doesn't it? But the idea is, how do you influence what seems like empty space, a void, to allow an unstable information state to, take hold and become stable matter?
Yeah.
The model points to extreme magnetism, and we're talking about magnetic fields on a scale that can actually shape the informational structure of the void itself.
Sculpting empty space.
In a sense, yes. This intense magnetism generates a very slight, very specific gravitational field, and that allows this unrealized mass, which you can think of as potential energy, waiting for the right information.
The right eye blueprint.
Exactly. Waiting for the right eye blueprint to basically tell it how to manifest as actual mass. It shows how deeply interconnected information, energy, gravity, and magnetism are in this view.
So, for you listening, what this deep dive really suggests is maybe we need to rethink reality itself, not as this fixed background, but as something dynamic, something being built constantly from pure information.
It's like the universe as a giant quantum information processor.
Yeah.
And, understanding these complex ideas is the first step. That's why this phased approach using analogies is so important for making it accessible. Knowledge really needs to be understood to be useful.
Totally agree. And it leaves you with a pretty profound thought, doesn't it? If space-time itself the very fabric of reality, emerges from these fundamental bits of information.
Yeah.
What does that imply about our potential ability to, well, interact with or even shape reality on a fundamental level? What new possibilities might that unlock?
That is something to ponder.
Definitely something to think about. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Join us next time.